This episode of the Restoration Today podcast is brought to you by Actionable Insights. Actionable Insights is the restoration industry's leading educational nonprofit, helping contractors and carriers settle claims on the daily. Go to getinsights.org. Hello there. Thanks for checking out another edition of the Restoration Today podcast. I am your host, Michelle Blevins, and I'm joined today by two people who have been very instrumental in helping me get things going at CNR. I'm very excited to be joined by Derek Priest and Katie Harris from SOS Spot On Solutions. They're here to talk about everything related to pay-per-click and advertising and Google and all the things that you need to know digitally for your business. So I'm going to toss it over. Ladies first. Katie, tell us a little bit about your background in SOS.
Thank you. Hey, Michelle, thanks for the invite. We're super excited to be here. We were just kind of chatting before we got started about how long we've known each other and where things started and where they're at today, and really excited to be a part of this podcast with you. My background is in journalism. So Derek and I have known each other for a really long time. Our sons grew up together. My husband coached baseball with Derek, and I was working as a journalist when Derek owned his restoration company and came to me one day and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about flooding my basement. Like, what do you think?" And I was like, "I think that's awesome. Like I think that's awesome." And he's like, "We come and write about it for the newspaper, and how can we do it?" And that was our first kind of go at marketing together. And it's too bad that Facebook Live wasn't a thing then, because we would have really had a lot of fun. But Derek filled a pool in his basement. We flooded it, and then, blew it up. And people will still ask him about that today. So that was our first marketing venture together. It was super fun. And then I just, as I continued in journalism, I fell in love with digital. And that's when we transitioned over and we started our marketing company. Derek was a client with his restoration company, and he started referring friends to us. And then the entrepreneur in him kind of kicked in, right, Derek? And he was like, wait a minute, let's just create a company and do this. And so that's how Spot On Solutions came about.
I love it. Okay, Derek, it's your turn. I'm guessing you've done more crazy things than flood your basement as well since this all started. So let's hear your background.
Oh my gosh. And that was a great introduction. And it's funny, Katie. And first of all, yeah, Michelle, thanks for inviting us on. I'm super excited about being here. But when you say people still talk to me all the time about that crazy event of flooding our basement, literally yesterday, no joke, one of our clients asked me to send him that YouTube video of us doing that. And I mean, that literally happened in like 2011. So it was a while ago. And I still get people ask me about it all the time. But you're right. My background is in restoration. I owned and operated a restoration company for 20 years in Southeast Idaho. My blood runs through this industry. And so when we had the opportunity to help restoration company owners grow their business through digital marketing, it just was, to me, a no-brainer. And working with Katie and Michael was just the best of both worlds. And so for 10 years now, that's been our focus. And so we've had a great opportunity to work with a lot of clients, and so we speak their language, and it's fun to talk to them about what's going on in their business, the struggles they have, the roadblocks they run up against, and at the same time be able to help them, overcome those and grow. So that's my background. Katie gave a great introduction about how we met. Our families, we've known each other for a long, long time, and it's been a great partnership as we've expanded that.
Awesome. I feel like where one is, the other is. You guys come in a pair. You come together as a set. So yes.
We were so a couple years ago, our home base is actually in a really small town in Idaho, where we're both from. And a couple of years ago, Derek's family moved back to Texas, where his family is from, and like, man, people ask us all the time, is that weird, like being one in Idaho, one in Texas? And it still kind of feels like we see each other all the time, every day. And so, yeah, we kind of hang together in most places.
It makes it really easy that American Airlines just put a direct flight into Idaho from Dallas. So it's just a quick little couple hours to get back to home base too. So it's really convenient. With the internet, with Zoom, we see each other literally every single day. So
I'm sure American did that just for you with your
Yeah, I'm glad they
frequent
did.
flyer. At this point, they're like, we need to put this in here for Derek. He needs
I put a
this.
request in and they honored it. So it was cool.
That was nice of them. Okay, so let's talk about how important digital presence is for restoration companies. I think owners come into it and they're like, I don't have time for this. I don't even know how any of this works. But let's talk about how important is a digital presence for these companies?
I mean, I think it's so important, but I'll tell you, like, I think one of the things we hear more often than not is just, it doesn't work, right? I've tried it 100 times. Almost every single person I talk to is like, you're like my sixth agency. Like, what makes you different? And why is it going to work this time? That is a real common fear and challenge that restoration companies had. That was where Derek was at when we first started working together. He's like, listen, I've tried digital. This was 10 years ago. He's like, it doesn't work. And so I think first you have to really overcome that and understand it does work. And these are the things you have to do to make sure it works for you.
Okay.
And it's where it goes without saying, this is where the world is today. This is marketing really starts and ends on the internet. I used to spend thousands of dollars in Yellow Page advertising. I'd have books, and as soon as they would come into my office, I'd flip it open to see where I was against all of my competitors and who had a bigger ad and who was, and now it's like people don't even know what phone books are anymore. We use them
to sit on. They boost
I don't have that challenge.
Short person problem.
Some people may, but yeah, just it's where people go. And this little device right here has literally changed the world. And so, without an internet presence, without being found online,
You're just at a disadvantage.
you're just at a huge disadvantage.
There's a bunch of research right now that says we actually look at our phone 150 times a day. And that seems crazy, right? But check yourself and you'll probably be like, crap. I do look at my phone a lot. That just means we're so reliant on that. And consumers are so demanding now, right? We expect to be able to, one of those times when we look at our phone, the answer we want be there, the company we need show up. And so not only is it important, to just have a digital presence and a digital strategy, but it's important to really understand how much consumer behavior is changing and has changed. We're super demanding now in what we expect as consumers. And I think owners have to realize that and be there for it.
Do you think that you lose a little bit of credibility if you don't have like a website or a web presence or even a Facebook page? I feel like if you Google somebody and they don't have a website or a Facebook page, it's like, is that true?
You're literally not in business unless you have a website, unless you have a Facebook page. You're a guy who lives down by the river.
Well, having
you don't have it.
Having one is not an option anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to have one. But what is an option is what it looks like. And the social proof that people are looking for when they land on those things help them make decisions. So if I just personally am making a decision about something, what's one of the first things I do is I go to look at reviews, right? Or I go to look at Facebook likes. And if I'm comparing two companies and one has a bunch of great reviews and one doesn't, the other one, even if they're not as good of a company, already seem better to me, right? Because that social proof is there and it's important to us. If I'm looking at a company that has, 35 Facebook likes versus a company that has 500, I've already made a decision before I've ever even talked to the company. So, there's your opportunity right there.
Yeah. Okay. So you talked about kind of in the beginning that people aren't successful or they think it doesn't work. So what are some of the mistakes you see restoration companies making when it comes to this online marketing that they need to change to be successful?
Oh, could I please answer this?
Yes, it's like Derek's favorite topic. So
This is I feel like there's a number of mistakes people make, but when it comes to online marketing, number one, online marketing has changed and it really is a pay to play area. Getting free website traffic yes, there's still a lot to be said about organic traffic, organic rankings, and that's awesome. But the amount of traffic that comes to your business through paid sources is just so critical. So, but I talk to people all of the time who are skeptical or who have tried Google Ads in the past, and don't want, are nervous about trying it. And I hear, when it comes to making a decision of running Google Ads or not, they want to start really small and see if it works. I don't want to lose a lot of money, so I want to see if it works. And then if it works, then we'll pour more money into it. Now, a philosophy that I totally understand, because you're dealing with limited funds anyway. But the thing that the challenge with that type of thinking is, especially in competitive markets, that if you want to have a bad experience with Google Ads, play small, stick your toe in the water, and you will not win. It just doesn't happen. You've got to be willing, and you've got to have somebody who knows what they're doing in order to spend your money the right way. But sticking your toe in the water in Google Ads, unless you live in a very small market with no competition, it just is not going to work most of the time. So there's a lot more that I could add to that, but that's probably my biggest issue. I've gotten very bold with clients and told them, I was like, listen, if you're just going to try it out, and then save your money and market some other way.
Katie, do you have anything you want to add to that one?
I think that whole idea of play small, that's easy to say, right? As a marketing company, but as an owner, you're like, hey, listen, like I've tried it, it didn't work. And how do I know if I'm going to get a good return on investment? Like, it's a scary thing to step into that space and say they'll do it. But, I guess I would just add, like, have a partner that's talking to you about a strategy, right? And a strategy that makes sense with your goals. If you're working with an agency and they're just saying, this is how much you need to spend, but they don't know what your expectation is from a goal standpoint, from a lead standpoint, like, that's a conversation you've got to have, so that make sure when you step into it, especially if you're going to, play to win, right? Not play small. Be sure that you're clear about the expectations. What does winning look like to you? And make sure that who you're working with knows that expectation, so they're aligned. I think that's one of the biggest frustrations for companies that we work with, is they're just never really aligned in strategies or goals, or they don't really know what's going on or happening. And so I think it's our responsibility as an agency to speak a language that people understand, but also to really understand what the business goals are. I think it's the owner's responsibility to make sure they know what their goals are, so that those strategies can align for success.
Okay. So I'm curious, what are some of the trends in websites today, both as far as look and feel, and then as far as how to get traffic, have a good website that's going to get traffic? Like, I feel like websites are always evolving and changing how they look, and trends with that and stuff like that. So what do good websites look like today?
There is such an awesome book that we have just become huge proponents of. It's called, tell me if I'm saying it wrong, Derek, but it's called The Story Brand by Donald Miller. Mm-hmm. And I love this book. Like, everybody should go read this book, not just for your website, but for all of your messaging, because he talks about how, like, we should not make somebody burn calories to figure out what we do or how they buy it, right? And so that translates into actually a very, very simplified website design. So partly because we are so demanding as consumers, I expect to land on a website, know who you are, how to contact you, and how to buy, like, within 3 seconds. And I expect there to be some emotional appeal as I do it. So for trends, I would say one of the biggest things we're looking at right now is really simplify, make it super user-friendly, and tell the story not about who you are, but tell the story about who your client is that's coming, that needs you. How are you going to solve their problem? Not why are you the hero that they should want on their side? Make your website about the people you're trying to work with, not about yourself.
Okay, Derek.
That's exactly. Most most businesses fail because they misunderstand where conversion happens. You do search engine optimization to gain rank, to get found at the top of the page, right? You do Google ads to get found at the top of the page and to drive traffic, drive those potential customers where? To your website, right? Then it's up to the conversion happens, like Katie said, within those 3 to 5 to 7 seconds, happens on your website. And so you've got to answer those questions quickly and in an emotional manner, and make that happen on your website. And don't make your website all about you. Make it about your customers.
So if you have equipment on your site, just go take it off right now and put people. Like, you'll be so glad you did it.
Yeah. People will see a air mover and be like, what? A day here.
What is that?
Yeah.
I see all the time, like, people on their website, they've put pictures of all this equipment. They maybe potentially have like a 2-foot flood cut all the way around this room because they're drying out this house. And I look at that from a perspective of a homeowner who's just experienced the worst day of their life. They go to a website and they see this picture, and instead of like care and comfort and anxiety leaving my body, I see, oh my gosh, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, right? And I'm like, why do that to your customers, right? Your job is to make them understand how they are the hero of your story, not you. So
3 kind of things I always tell people to look at when they're putting their marketing together are reach, capture, and convert. So how are you reaching your audience? What are you doing to get in front of them? Maybe you're walking into insurance offices, maybe you're, doing things within the community, maybe you're running ads, right? So how are you reaching them? How are you capturing them? Like, what does that capture point look like? How is your website, right? And then how are you converting? How is your frontline people on the phone when the call comes in? How is your after hours? How are your after hours calls going? So just always evaluate your reach, your capture, and your convert. And if you have those 3 areas kind of nailed down, you're going to have a marketing strategy that's going to work for you.
So are blogs and content still critical to SEO and ranking as well?
Yeah. Google just really values current and relevant content, and we see them doing that more and more. Like Google My Business right now, you can post on your Google My Business, and I think one of Google's ways of re-emphasizing how important current and relevant content is those posts on your Google My Business expire after 7 days. So that's kind of like forcing you to have current and relevant content. The website version of that is adding blogs, right? Being sure that you're having a smart link building strategy so that you're building the domain authority of your website. That's really important. But current and relevant content is just, all Google wants to do is help people find what they're looking for. And so the better your content is, the more current your content is, the more Google will reward that.
Okay. So let's talk about Google local service ads versus Google guaranteed. What is the difference? What are they? Can you hash that out?
Yeah. They're the same thing, right? Like, I don't know why they have to have 10 different names, but it is the exact same thing. And just so people kind of know, these are the ones with the green check marks that show up at the very top of the page, and it'll say Google guaranteed on it. 100% totally free to become a Google guaranteed company. You can, just Google that in and you'll see the steps you can start taking. We help people kind of expedite that process a little bit because we're able to work directly with Google. But the advantage to that really has been, and this has been a cool kind of evolution that we've seen happen with the Google guaranteed ads. They're up at the very top. So above even your pay per click. Google guaranteed or pay per lead though. And so it's a little bit different strategy. The 2 together work really, really well. If you think about, you own that top space with the Google guaranteed, and then you own that space underneath it with the pay per click. And then you have your maps optimized and good reviews. And then you're ranking high in organic. You've just really kind of locked up a lot of internet real estate space on a page. But one of the biggest advantages, if you haven't kind of gotten in or checked out Google guaranteed, One of the biggest advantages we're seeing right now is the cost per lead is about half as much. And so water damage leads are expensive. They are some of the most expensive clicks you can get in pay-per-click. We're seeing those leads come in at about half the cost when somebody's using a Google local service ad.
Okay. Derek, anything you wanted to add to that? Nope.
That was a perfect explanation.
Okay.
Do it. Just get Google guaranteed. Like, give it a shot. You're going to need to have license. You're going to need to have insurance, and you need to have certifications. We have some content on our website about Google guaranteed. There's some different things out there, but it is worth kind of jumping through the hoops to get guaranteed to have that extra location up there.
Okay.
Exactly.
So you guys are part of the Forbes Agency Council and a Google Premier Partner. So what do both of those mean, and how did you achieve those, and how rare is that to achieve those?
Well, first of all, you have to have a really cool pink and white shirt.
By some golfer that
Yes, by a golfer. Other than that, it's easy, right, Katie?
Sure, it's easy. So, you know what? Those are like two things we're super proud of and that have been really just a huge benefit to us. So first, I'll talk a little bit about the Google Premier Partner status. You'll see a lot of people, a lot of agencies will say they're premier partners. There are different levels to that status. And that's a good question to ask if you're working with an agency. We're actually a Google managed agency, which only 1% of all agencies are. That means our training comes directly from Google. Our people are getting trained with Google. We're on the phone with them once a week, kind of getting updates and help. We have an expedited troubleshooting process. But all that means for our clients really is that you get much better service. If there's a beta program that comes out, we're opting clients into those beta programs before anybody else is really even knowing they're out there. So it's a little bit of an advantage, strategic advantage for clients to be a part of it. And then Google's they've been so great at giving us resources to make us better, right? To make us a better agency that ultimately just helps our clients be more successful. So. And Forbes is just a passion. Forbes, I mean, I told you I started with a journalism background. And so I've always loved writing. I love writing people's stories. Part of the thing I love about Spot On Solutions is like we're actually a part of their story, right? And that's really fun too. And so I think both Forbes and the Google partnership have just been huge honors for us and something that we're really proud of.
Okay. All right. So how big is SOS now? Like how many employees do you guys have? And do you have any idea how many restoration companies you're working with? I'm guessing that changes pretty quickly, but.
That does change. And which is great. We have been on a growth curve. Well, obviously ever since we started our company, but to date, we have about 18 full-time employees that work with us. We started this company a little different than most agencies would start. Number one, because we knew we were getting into a very niche industry.
And a lot of the people in the industry were your friends, right, Derek?
A lot of people. I know a lot of people in this industry, and we all talk, and they all talk, and number one, we wanted to just provide great service, great value, and great results to people. And so for a long time, our business development team was and still in many ways today is Katie and I, through building relationships, through building those through networking and attending events and getting to know our potential clients. We really grew our team, our frontline people, are people who are actually delivering on all of the brand promises that Katie and I give. We built that first. We built that bigger than our business development team for the reason of we want to be able to deliver great results for people instead of, churning clients over and over again and just relying on our sales team to bring new clients in as fast as we're losing them. That's not what our vision was or is. Our vision, our mission is to is to grow people and profits, right? And to help, in order to do that, we can't solely be focused on sales and growth. It's on clients, it's on retention. So we've been able to grow that. We do have a business development team now that is, a little bit bigger than Katie and myself, but not that much bigger, right? Still, the lion's share of our focus goes into the deliverables and those relationships with our clients through their account managers. We have, full development, graphic design and development team. We have people who do nothing but SEO. We do not people who do nothing but Google Ads. And that's probably one of the biggest things that we've learned in this industry, is that having an under one roof solution is really big benefit, because what we've learned is that companies who do different things, like an SEO company does SEO, Google Ads company does Google Ads, a web design company does web design. And oftentimes those three don't play well in the same sandbox. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so being able to, with one goal in mind, have all of those cogs of that wheel meshing and working together has been a huge benefit to our clients, because our teams don't compete against each other. They're working together to grow our clients' business. And so it's all collaboration. It's not ever any headbutting, so we've been really, really happy and proud of what we're building there.
Perfect. Okay. So for anybody watching or listening to this, SOS has been the driving force behind the CNR website and how easy it is to navigate. And they've done a lot of integrations to make it easy, and, connecting with the list and having videos played there easily. And then we were talking about graphic design, Derek. One of your team members created the Restoration Today podcast logo. And the Blueprint Creative, my company's logo, and all of that. So I appreciate all of the help that your company has given, and I love the website and how it's turned out, and I'm looking forward to growing from here. So thank you both for that, and your team.
You're super welcome.
Yeah, thank you for letting us work on it. It's been really fun to have all of this come together, and then super excited for where CNR is going from here.
Thank you. Okay, anything else either of you want to add before we wrap it up?
Oh, that is like a loaded question when you ask Katie and Derek that. Like, you just open the door to trouble right there. No, I appreciate the conversation. It's always fun. Some of our favorite things to really talk about. There's so many times I wanted to jump in when Derek was talking about our team and just be like, I wish you knew how many times you heard him say, listen, a restoration owner isn't going to get that. Or listen, that's not how restoration owners talk. He's always teaching our team about the industry and about, hey, don't talk like that. That doesn't make sense, right? Let's talk in a way that really matters. And so I've always loved that he brings that owner's perspective, and he's always, balancing it with our digital perspective. So it's like, hey, let's talk in real language that's going to help somebody elevate their business.
Love it. Awesome. Well, I will see you both at the experience in Vegas. Yes.
Yes.
You will. We're excited about it. Seeing you again in person.
Yes.
With a new t-shirt, maybe a new t-shirt.
But I'm the editor. Now I don't know. Anyway.
Now you're the publisher.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you both. I will see you both in a few weeks.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Michelle. Bye-bye.
For more Restoration Today, visit our website, cnrmagazine.com, or find us wherever you get your favorite podcasts.